Thank you once again for joining me. Name is Gray, and I'm going through the book of Psalms, the whole book of it. We've managed to get to chapter 55, praise God. And today, 55 is another Psalm of David. And this one is slightly different in terms of the raw emotion that David is showing. And I think for us, when I read this, it's sort of like, not validates, but gives me permission to be able to fully cry out to God. And if you're in a place where you feel like things aren't working, everyone's attacking you, it's affecting your mental health, this is a good place for you to learn and relate to David, but also to relate to his faithfulness to God. So let's jump in. This one I want to look at chapter verse 2. He says, "Hear me and answer me." But the part that I want to highlight is, "My thoughts trouble me and I'm distraught." That sounds like it's just not hurting because they're bothering me, but it's sleepless night affecting me the way I think and do things. And it's because, he says, because of what my enemy is saying, because of the threats of the wicked. So people have risen against him, not necessarily to fight him, but they're saying so many lies and things about him that bringing him down. He's in anguish. Verse 4, it says, "My heart is in anguish within me. The terrors of death have fallen for me." Verse 6 talks about wanting to run away. Have you ever been in that place where you feel like nothing is going right? And even maybe in your house or your job, you just feel like running away. That's how David felt. And one thing that I'd like us to remember as we're going through this is David crying out to God, and that just gives us the right not to hold back when crying out to God, when talking to God. So verse 6 to 8, he says, "Look, I would run away from here to stay in the desert." And that's a feeling I've had sometimes, where you just want to get away completely and be at somewhere where they cannot find you. And verse 9 to 11, it feels like the things that people are saying against him, the lies are saying against him, is causing violence in the city. And says, "For I see violence and strife in this city." Now we have to remember that David was a king. The exact situation where this happened, no one is sure. There's some people are speculating, but it's just speculation, so I'm not going to go into that. But what hurts David most is what he says in verse 12 and 13. That's why he's really, really crying out to God. He says, "If an enemy were insulting me, I could endure it. If a foe was rising against me, I could hide. But it is you, a man like myself, my companion, my close friend, with whom I once enjoyed sweet fellowship at the house of God as we walked about among the worshippers." So it's just not someone else from afar. And David says, if it was someone that I did wrong or an enemy who's against me, fine, but it is you, my friend, my very close friend. He says that my close friends, whom I once enjoyed sweet fellowship, someone that they went to church together, they walked among the worshippers. So they were praying together. And maybe you've been in that position before, and that someone very, very close to you turns around and stabs you in the back. Yeah, those are the ones that it hurts the most. And not only they stab you in the back, they continue to speak bad about you, to the point where wherever you're feeling, wherever you're staying is very uncomfortable. You want to run away. And sometimes you feel like there's nowhere you can call, or nowhere else who you can talk to, so they understand. But David is showing us here that he cried out to God, and God heard him. God heard him. Look at what he says from verse 16. He says, "As for me, I call to God, and the Lord saves me." That's David again. He cries out, but he comes and starts declaring the things that will happen because of who God is. They're declaring, speaking to himself about what he ought to do, or his stance with God. He says, "Evening, morning, and noon, I cry out distress, and he hears my voice." I want to encourage you, if you're in a place where you feel like your very own friends, people very close to you, have risen up against you, be like David, verses 16 and 17. Cry out to God. It says, "Every morning, afternoon, evening, I cry out to God," but not in vanity. and I know he hears my voice. In verse 18, he rescued me unharmed from the battle waged against me. So be encouraged in whatever you're going through. Continue to look to God and call on him, and he will hear you. This is the verse that I want to leave you with. It's verse 22. It says, cast your cares on the Lord, and he will sustain you. He will never let the righteous be forsaken. If you're righteous and things are going against you, cast all your cares, every single thing that matters or that's bothering you, bring it before the Lord. And he says he will sustain you. He will lift you up. He will encourage you. He will fight the battles for you. And that's where we are going to stop. Verse 23 says, but you, God, will bring down the wicked into the pit of decay. The bloodthirsty and deceitful will not live out half their days. But as for me, I trust in you. My prayer, if you're going through this where you feel like people are coming against you, is you continue to trust God. And if you're not there, everything's fine with you, I still want to encourage you to trust in God, even now when things are good, so that when things go bad, you know exactly where to run to. God bless you. Do not give up on God.